This is all very, very exciting. And I think some of you may have heard just in the last week or so about Larkenvlei up near Dahlstrom. That's been signed into protections by the MEC, another 14,000 hectares protected. So the IBA team are integrally involved in this work, and you need to commend Daniel and his team on this amazing work. And this stuff doesn't happen overnight. Ernst Retief is doing some work at the Volga Stewardship site. That's in the Angola area, at possibly another 40,000, 45,000 hectares that'll be protected. And it's a long process. He drives down from Pretoria, meets one or two farmers, goes back to Pretoria a few weeks later, there's another meeting, but ultimately 45,000 hectares, which will conserve the Volga catchment. Then the exciting work that we've been doing around the tax and fiscal incentives. We have employ a tax expert, Candice Stevens. She's not on this trip, back in Johannesburg at the moment, and she's been working very closely with Nick's company in Ernst & Young, EY. And the idea here is to enable the incentives that can be derived through tax returns. And Candice is an expert in this field. And the very first time last year, one of the incentives was written into a tax return, and the farmer was able to benefit from this return. So very exciting work, very innovative work, and we've become the leading organization in this field in South Africa. And increasingly, as less and less money is becoming available for formal acquisition of protected areas, one has to look at ways in which you can continue to conserve them, but in private land. Some guidelines have been developed for the fynbos, bird-friendly habitat management guidelines. Dale and his team were involved with that, and we have similar guidance for the grasslands as well. Okay, we also have a policy and advocacy program. Simon Gear worked for us until a couple of weeks ago, and he drove this process. There were lots of things he was involved with. One of the most important things was engaging with government around some of the multilateral environmental agreements, Convention on Biodiversity, Convention on Migratory Species, the Ramsar Convention, and others. And these are conventions, international conventions that South Africa has ratified, but unfortunately government is often not very good at implementing and reporting, and that's where we as an NGO step in and assist government. It's one of the things that Simon was responsible for. Then we have a program which we've called Agri-Tourism and Special Projects. It's everything that doesn't belong anywhere else gets given to Martin and his team, which is Ian. One of the things we're doing is we've been involved with the guide program. It's one of our flagship projects for many, many years. 4 of our bird guides are on this cruise. You may have met them. And in the last year, we've managed to accredit BirdLife South Africa's FAGASA trainer provider. All of our course material has been revised. 22 learners have undergone training. 2 training courses have been held. And 3 learners have completed the FAGASA specialist birding qualifications. So we're very grateful for the funding we received from Italtal to support this work, but also last year, Nick Prentice and 3 of his friends from the UK contributed significantly to this work as well. They believe in this project. Okay, I'm going to end off by just showing our influence in Africa, and this is a bit of an exaggeration. I know I'm blowing our trumpet, but I think I need to do it. Now, that's where we're based, down in South Africa, you can see there. We're also doing a lot of work in Zimbabwe. Now, Martin Taylor is our Partner Development Officer. He works in Zimbabwe. We support BirdLife Zimbabwe. And that's a position that's funded by the RSPB. Not only does Martin work in Zimbabwe, he also works in other Southern African countries, Angola, Namibia, Botswana, Mozambique, Lesotho. There's our influence. As I mentioned earlier, Sam Rolston's been very involved in advising other countries and other BirdLife partners in their renewable energy work, Egypt and Kenya being the 2 most important ones. We do work on white-winged flufftails in Ethiopia and tighter falcons in Zimbabwe. We're also involved in a very important project for Martin Taylor, and particularly the East Atlantic Flyway Initiative, and this is really the west coast of Africa. So it's really along the coast, but I decided to color those countries to make it more impressive. So we're doing some work there. We're also involved in the Marva project in West Africa. This is Ross and his team. Yeah, we're identifying important bird and biodiversity areas, marine IBAs, trying to protect them, and also involved in looking at seabird bycatch in West Africa too. So there's some involvement there as well. Oops. Sorry, I'm really messing it up here. And then we're involved in BirdLife International. I serve in BirdLife's African Regional Committee, and we do work in literally every other country on the continent. And through the combinations projects, Roche works in the Atlantic and Indian Ocean. So really, we work all over the world. And a lot is happening, as you've gathered. Some of it's reported in the annual report. Putting that annual report together, my challenge was to keep it down limited, because the program managers want to give me a lot more information. That's really a summary of what we do. But it's not only the staff, not only the board, not only the volunteers. There's a large number of you who are assisting to achieve what we do. And I'd like to thank you very, very much for all you do to help us give conservation wings. Thank you.